Hey guys, I am so excited to finally be doing this video. I know I've been talking about it for forever, but AP testing and SATs and other dumb school stuff like that kept getting in the way, so I'm glad to finally be doing this. Alright, so Q&A. Here we go. The first question is, how long have you been in the Sherlock fandom? I have been in the fandom for about a year. I actually started the show 2 years ago, but I didn't get into Tumblr or even really join the Sherlock fandom until almost a year later. But yeah, the Sherlock fandom was one of my first fandoms, and it's insane and crazy in all the best ways, and I definitely hold a lot of love for it. The next question is, what made you want to start a rec blog? This actually was something I just started on a whim. I remember that it was a couple weeks after I started blogging on my primary blog, and I just kind of thought, hey, I read a lot of John Locke fanfiction. Maybe I should start a rec blog, and it just kind of happened. What are 3 things you could not live without? The first thing is my best friends, and those would be my sister Allison and my best friend Ivy, both of whom I love very much. They're very dear to me. They're wonderful people, and I would not make it through life without them. The second thing is my laptop, because my laptop is basically my life and my soul. I do everything on my laptop. This is one thing I actually really feel I could not live without. Even my schoolwork, a lot of it is done on my laptop, so very important to me. The last thing I could not live without, I am going to say Fall Out Boy, because I love them. I recently really got into them. Save Rock and Roll is basically my favorite album ever. I love every single song on it, which is something I have never experienced with an album before. I listen to them all the time. I absolutely adore them. Pretty much they dominate my music. Someone asked me, are you going to keep running the site after the whole show ends? If so, how long will you be taking requests for? God forbid that BBC Sherlock should ever end. I don't know what I would do. I would be completely devastated because it's my favorite TV show. But if the show does end, yes, I will be keeping up the blog. Fanfiction definitely does not stop when the show stops, so the blog continues. I'll be taking requests for as long as I possibly can. You guys may or may not have seen that I'm closing my inbox in just a few days because I'm basically drowning in requests. I think I have over 150, so yeah, I pretty much dug my own grave. But of course, I'm super excited to look through them and to fill them. I love doing it, don't get me wrong, but yes, I do need to close my inbox. So I will try and keep requests going for as long as possible, although there are probably going to be these periodic intervals of time where I'm closing my inbox just so I can try and catch up. Alright, so someone asked, when did you start to first believe John Locke would be canon? Confession, I actually don't think John Locke will become canon. John Locke is my OTP of OTPs. I would be pretty happy. I would be pretty darn happy if it became canon. I just don't think it's going to. I don't think it's something Moftis is heading towards. Personally, I think that despite all the subtext in the show, it's just not something that's going to happen as much as we may want it to. Whether or not this is queer baiting is something I don't know if I'm qualified to answer or to even get into, but I can say that personally, I don't think that John Locke is going to become canon. So someone asked, do you have a ship other than John Locke? Yes, let's talk about my other OTPs. I ship Destiel so hard it is physically painful. I used to actually run a fanfic blog for Destiel also, although it just became too time consuming to do both. But yes, I do ship Destiel ridiculously hard, and I sincerely hope that it becomes canon. Sabriel is probably what I would consider to be my 3rd biggest OTP. I love Sabriel, it's adorable, and I never actually meant to ship it. It was just something I accidentally got into. So, you know, story of every shipper. What are your pronouns? So I identify as a cis female, so I go by she, her, that sort of thing. Yeah, someone asked, what are your kinks? So I think the biggest problem would actually be trying to list all of them, and another thing is that they actually vary between ships. But for John Locke, I definitely feel the army kink that I know Sherlock has going. I do have a hair pulling kink. I'm down for BDSM. I'm down for any of that dom sub play or bondage. Possessiveness is a major kink. Possessiveness, protectiveness, jealousy, I love them all. For Destiel, I have a ridiculous number. Halo kink, wing kink, daddy kink, panty kink. I mean, the list is pretty endless. Before I enter into TMI territory with my personal kinks, I think I'm going to keep going here. So someone asked, what is your favorite quote or motto? My favorite quote is "Not all those who wander are lost" by Tolkien. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful pithy quote. And I kind of feel that it's just something that helps me not feel stressed, or just helps me keep going when I realize that I have no freaking clue what I'm doing in life. So my next question is, what is your MBTI type? So I took some rather sketchy online MBTI quiz and actually wrote down my results. Alright, so I am ENFJ, extrovert, intuitive, feeling, and judging. Yeah, whatever that really means. Someone asked me, when did you start shipping John Locke? I started shipping John Locke probably when I started reading fanfiction for it, which I guess is a little bit of a backwards thing. I usually consider myself a shipper of a ship when I start reading fanfiction for it, because that's typically when the commitment really sets in. But I'm sure that I started shipping it a little bit prior, and then fanfiction just really developed my love for the ship. Someone asked, who's your favorite fan artist and fanfic writer? I have to go with Alice XZ, just because she is, I mean, all her paintings are just so amazing. And I always laugh when I see that one post of hers that's like, that Anon is like, hey, would you draw me if I asked you to? And she's like, of course. And she puts up this beautifully shaded picture of the anonymous icon, and yeah, I lose it every time. I actually have an authors page in which I list a couple of my favorite authors. I really need to update it because I have some new ones. From that list, I really want to point out Mazarin221B, who is a lovely person and an even lovelier author. Absolutely amazing writing on John Locke. Some of my favorite fics come from her, and she's really just such a nice person all around. So I also want to talk about Song Lin, because her work is absolutely amazing. Her versatility is just stunning. I mean, I've read some seriously hot smut from her, but I've also read some very, very touching, very poignant platonic John Locke fics. She just has a really, really great understanding of the ship. I absolutely love her work. Some new authors that I've been looking at: Sweet Cupping Cakes. People have been talking about him or her. Their fics are really, really great. Really great writing style. I really have enjoyed them, and I want to read some of their longer ones, but haven't got the chance to yet. But I did kind of just want to put that out there. And also, of course, Trajectoria. I know that I always mention these names, but it's because these are truly some of my favorite writers and my favorite people. Trajectoria is amazing. She is a lovely friend, a great person, and a dedicated author. I love her work. It's great. It's introduced me to new stuff in John Locke, stuff that I never would have looked into at all, and I absolutely love talking to her. So definitely check out her work. And yeah, I could probably list a bunch of other authors, but those are the main ones, and I know that I've mentioned them before, but they really do deserve recognition. What is your dream college or university? So all I really know is that I want to be out of California. I really want to go to the East Coast. Obviously Ivy schools would be great, but you never know. Alright. So I just had some technical difficulties because my camera died and I ran out of memory at the same time. Lovely. So I'm back now, but yeah, that's the reason for any possible lighting or placement discrepancies. So hopefully it's okay. So the question was, what are the top 10 things on your bucket list? I have to say that my absolute #1 thing would be to go to Europe with my best friend Ivy. This is something we've been dreaming about for ages. We just both really love traveling. We really want to go there. We think it'd be amazing, and obviously together it would just be even more fun. So that's definitely something I really hope is in my future. The second thing is probably Comic-Con. Which is actually something I will be doing this summer for the first time. I'm super, super excited. I can't wait to see what all the hype is about, so I can cross that off my list. The third thing is maybe a bit of a weird thing. I've always wanted to have a Coke from the Coke bottles, like the classic Coke bottles made out of glass with the caps that you have to take off with like a little metal thing. And I actually got to do that a few years ago when I visited my sister in Boston. So that was something that was really cool for me. It's a really great memory, and I guess it's a little more of a sentimental thing than a really, really cool bucket list item. I want to go skydiving. I have a fear of heights, but I think skydiving would be really cool. And also, I'd like to meet up with some Tumblr friends. I also want to do Gishwas, and the fact that Misha Collins is involved is only a bonus. That's everything on my bucket list, actually. That's not even 10. So the next question is, who is your real life hero? I'm gonna have to split this between 3 people who I consider to be my top 3 role models. The first is my sister. I really look up to her. She's really, obviously, a great person. She's very smart, she's very dedicated, she's hilarious, and I love her a lot. The second person is Sheryl Sandberg. She's done a lot for feminism, she's done a lot for women in the workplace, and she's basically the ideal example of a successful woman. So I really look up to her. I think she's funny, I think she's smart and charismatic, and I think she's a really good role model. And the last person is Misha Collins. I think that he seems like a guy who tries to constantly be very nice, very philanthropic, and he's someone that I look up to just try and stay positive and to just try and keep going. The next question is, what do you think is the scene of Sherlock that portrays the best John Locke / the depth of their relationship? So I think that for me, this scene is really Reichenbach, where Sherlock is standing on the roof and John is down there and they're having this phone conversation. I really just think that it shows the reciprocity of their relationship and how much John cares about Sherlock and how much Sherlock cares about John. Because even though John doesn't know it, Sherlock, of course, is jumping off that building for John. And I think that it really just shows how much they care about each other and how much they're willing to do to protect each other. The next question is, are you excited to get out of high school? This is a definite yes. I cannot wait to get out of high school. The next question is, who do you think the best person ever is? That is a pretty tall order to be the best person ever. I think my answer for this would probably be the same as my real life heroes, just because I don't really think anyone can actually merit the moniker best person ever, so I'm just gonna go with the people I look up to. Someone asked, are you part of #TJLC? I am not part of the John Locke conspiracy, mainly because I don't actually think it's going to become canon, although I will agree that there is a ridiculous and frankly rather suggestive amount of subtext in the show, but no, I don't consider myself to be part of the John Locke conspiracy. Someone asked, do you prefer top John or top Sherlock? I actually don't have a preference, which I think is a very useful trait given the type of blog I run. I need to be able to read any kind of fic and then be able to review it hopefully more or less unbiased. So yeah, I'm down for top Locke, top John, switch Locke, I mean, you name it. Alright, and the last question is, do you have a no TP? If so, what's the reasoning behind it? So I guess my no TPs for BBC Sherlock would be Holmcest and Mycroft / John. They just kind of weird me out. And for Holmcest, it's weird, like, it's not even the incest thing, I guess, because, like, I can handle incest and, like, Jamie and Cersei, but, yeah, no, Holmcest it's not for me. So, thank you guys so much for sending in questions. I really, really appreciate it. This was a ton of fun. Hopefully, maybe I'll get to do something like this again in the future. Just before I go, the last thing I wanted to talk about was a really interesting, really cool project that's coming up, and you guys have probably heard of it. So the fanfic by Portal, as I believe the author's name is pronounced, is actually being made into a web series, which is amazing. So I'm providing links below to my review of the actual fic, which is, again, it's called A Finger Slip. It's wonderfully written, it's humorous, it's a fast read, it's super fun. I'll provide a link to that review. I'm also going to provide a link to a Finger Slip official Tumblr. This is where you can find out everything about the project that's coming up. I believe the official release date for the first episode is October 19th. I'm super excited. You can find out more there. And I'm also going to link you to Naomi, who is the director of this project. I'm going to link you to her blog. She's willing to answer all sorts of questions. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, super dedicated to this project, and just all around super excited to be doing this. So if you guys are wondering how you can get involved, there are two main ways. So first, you can donate. They are constantly looking for more funds. I mean, keep in mind they have to fund camera crews and wardrobes and all this crazy stuff. I mean, they are putting in so much of their own effort and money already. It would be great if you could help fund them. And the second thing is, if you're like me and you just cannot donate, can't afford to, just for some reason can't do it, spread the word. Really, publicity is something that would be amazing for them right now, not least because it brings in more donations, but also because more publicity is going to mean more viewers, more people are going to be interested, and the more we can get this project out there, the better. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I've seen a lot of stigma that surrounds fan works in general, especially fan fiction, and I just feel like that this project is really a chance for us to change that, and for us to see that fan work can be taken very, very seriously, and it can become something to, on a completely different level. That's just amazing, that's just brilliant, and just well done. So again, I'm super excited for this project and its implications. The fic was great. There's actually a trailer that's already out for a Fingerslip the web series. I'll link to it below in the description if you're on YouTube, or in the post if you're on Tumblr. And I can't wait, honestly, and I really hope you guys are excited about it too. Thank you guys so much. I hope you check out a Fingerslip, and I hope you enjoyed this Q&A.